My name is Michael Jones. My major was a Master of Science in Data Analytics from Southern New Hampshire University, and that was in 2021. I think I graduated. It's been a minute. I will say, like, I kind of love the idea of like the non-traditional student, which is probably why I ended up at SNHU in the first place, because it resonates pretty strongly with me. So like straight out of high school, I went to college. It was not the strongest start. It was pretty rough. But all that being said, it's really not how you start, it's how you finish. So I decided to pursue a career in the Air Force. So I enlisted as an avionics technician, and I was in the Air Force for about 8 years. But like during that time, I made the decision, and I was like, you know what, I want to go back to school. So that's what I did. I was successful. I got my undergrad in aeronautics, which was pretty well aligned with my career at the time. And so like from that point, what I did, I made the decision that I really want to do 20 years, in the Air Force. I want to explore other opportunities. How can I leverage that the best way? Like, is there something adjacent that I can do? So in that case, it was aerospace and defense, field engineering, systems engineering. So applied for that with which is still like my current employer. I got that position, kind of doing my work. I really needed more of a skill set to analyze data. That's kind of what put me on the search for, a data analytics program, something where I could really improve my skill set. And the rest is history. It was an amazing experience. I had a great time. It definitely created the framework for me to move into my current role, which is where I am. I function as a data scientist now within Northrop Grumman. So I can obviously directly attribute my current role to the academic pursuit, of my master's at SNHU. Typical and workday probably don't go together for me. But that being said, I mean, like, there are some habits that are probably like established. So the first part of every day for me personally is going to be laying out priorities. What do I need to get done? What was not done yesterday that I need to tackle first? How do I prioritize these, effectively? Who's asking me to do these things? Because a lot of times that's going to dictate what gets done first. Is it coming from a director? Is it coming from a peer? A workday sometimes is going to look different depending on your level. So I'm a little bit more on the senior side, as far as data scientists go. So for me personally, like, I am going to spend a little bit more time in meetings, because while I am still doing some of the hands-on work, some of it is maybe a little more strategic in nature, or a little bit more like project management. My time might be a little bit more devoted to that. If you're more junior, maybe less time doing that, and it's just full-time, hands-on work. Or if you're very senior, like way up the chain, then maybe you're spending a lot of your day in meetings. So I'm kind of in that sweet spot right now, where it's a little bit of a mix of the two. One of the projects I'm working on, we are leveraging large language models to help systems engineers with requirement analysis. And writing those requirements can be a little bit challenging. They have to be written in a very specific way. And so we're leveraging generative AI to assist systems engineers as far as whether the way they are writing a requirement is maybe industry compliant. That's probably the best way to put it. That's one of the things I'm doing. That's more like on the project management front. I do get a chance to do some hands-on development there as a data scientist. Another thing that I'm currently working on, which has been pretty fun, working on some computer vision algorithms. So like this, it's basically, if you're familiar with like convolutional neural networks, or just, let's just say neural networks, depending on where you are in your data analytics journey, but like image classification. So basically having an algorithm being able to determine whether, in this case, it's a circuit board, but like, being able to look at a circuit board and determine whether it is good or bad based on some criteria. But it's comparing like good, bad images, kind of everything in between, and being able to predict whether it requires like further review. The other thing that I'm working on right now is it's using what's called retrieval augmented generation. So if people are in that field, they know what it is. We're using kind of implementing like AI for like root cause analysis investigations, like those sorts of things. So you have quality engineers, you have issues that need to take place, like in the workspace. They generate like these investigations that have like the problem, the root causes, and then recommended like actions. Well, we're now like, looking to leverage AI to help quality engineers with that process. It kind of moves alongside them, but it's leveraging it all based on like old, like historical data, but it's giving the quality engineer a leg up in the sense that it is, recommending, courses of action, and we found it to be very helpful. So, I mean, that's kind of like a 10,000 foot view of some of the work that I'm doing, but I'm definitely more like in the AI space. People may be more on the data visualization side, dealing with dashboards. But based on like my general background and also like my current research, my skill set lends more like toward the AI front. But, again, that may not be for everybody. You may be interested in something else, and, by all means, pursue what you're passionate about. It is great to stay abreast of the latest tools, the latest technologies, like what's going on, in the data science landscape, the AI landscape. That being said, like, it's like, I don't know how realistic it is that somebody's just going to be able to keep up constantly, because it's just so much going on. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I think what happens is people spend so much time focusing on the tools and the technologies, and they spend a lot less time maybe focusing on the actual foundations, like statistics, coding, like those sorts of things. And someone will make the argument, well, you can use AI now, like, to generate code. That is true. But if you don't have the fundamental skill set, the foundation, if AI makes a mistake, and mark my words, it will make a mistake, if you don't have the foundation in place, you will be unable to catch it. So that skill set isn't really going away. Like, you still need to be able to functionally understand like what's going on. Statistical analysis, whether it's hypothesis tests, like, to me, like, statistics, it's understanding that is very important. And then just kind of understanding like the basics of traditional machine learning, like those aspects aren't really going away. Like, you need to be able to understand those things. That being said, generative AI is probably not going away anytime soon. AI agents are probably not going away anytime soon. Agentic AI is probably not going away anytime soon either. So those are things that you need to be aware of. I don't know how intimately familiar you need to be with every single one of those things, but you need to have some understanding, as far as like how they function. How do you do that? There are probably a million different ways. I mean, obviously you could pick up a college class. One thing that I like to do is kind of an easy hack. If I have something very specific that I'm interested in learning, I'm probably going to jump on Udemy. Just quick thing on that real quick. For some reason, Udemy kind of moves in like these 2-week spurts where the prices like jump. So if you see something for $100, don't buy it. Wait 2 weeks until it's like 15. Like it always does this. But yeah, go on Udemy, grab something that it's very specific, very targeted. That you want to study. The courses are usually, I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 hours. Some of them are longer, but it depends on how much of a deep dive like you want to do. But it's a very effective and expeditious way of getting caught up like on a specific subject and being able to like practically apply it in your workspace. So that would be like just kind of a recommendation, like, for me personally. I never did the internship thing. I know that would also be like incredibly helpful. We do internships, with Northrop Grumman. It's a little bit more on the limited side there. So if it's something that you want to immediately pursue, like a Udemy or a Coursera, just anything where you can kind of upskill fairly rapidly and then begin to apply it, like, fingers to keyboard, because that's really where the learning takes place. So definitely learn, definitely pick it up, and then immediately, apply tactile learning, get it, muscle memory, and understanding those concepts. So that's what I would recommend, to somebody that's looking for opportunities for learning.